Okay, good math morning, everybody. This week we are going to start learning about ratios. So ratios are something that sound really confusing when I try and explain what they are, but as soon as we start doing practice examples, you're going to have no problem. So just stay with me. Okay, so a ratio is when you compare numbers or quantities that are measured in the same units. And they're always written like this, as something to something. So this little colon we read as 2. So it could be how many cats to dogs, right? Our unit is animals. Or it could be how many of a number. So I have 4 to 3 of something. Like I said, it sounds kind of odd when I'm just explaining it. So let's just work through these examples. We can describe ratios as part to part or part to whole when you're looking at a set of numbers or things or whatever you like. So here's how you wrap your head around this. First off, you describe it in words. Then you figure out what number you have of each thing. And then it's really easy to find your ratios. So I want you to pause the video right now and just write down these steps. Okay, step number 1, look at my pictures here. I'm going to describe these cubes that I have using ratios. Okay, so first I'm going to describe what I have in words. I have yellow cubes. Okay, and I have green cubes. Those are the different parts, the different things that I have in my set. Okay, and then I'm going to go add your numbers. So how many yellow cubes do I have? If you look, I have 3. Okay, so I have 3 yellow cubes. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 green cubes. Now my whole set is cubes. That's my unit right now. I'm talking about cubes. And I have altogether in my set 7 cubes. Okay, so I can make different kinds of ratios. I can make a part-to-part ratio. So I could say I have 3 yellow cubes to 4 green cubes. So that's a part-to-part. Or I could do it the other way. I could say I have 4 green cubes to every 3 yellow cubes, and that would still be a part-to-part. But I can make part to whole ratios. I could say I have 3 yellow cubes out of my whole set of 7, part to whole. Or I could talk about, go that way. There we go. Or I could talk about how I have 4 green cubes out of 7 total cubes, which is part to whole. One thing to note is that you never go whole to part, you always go part to whole. There. So that's all you do. Just talk about how many you have of each thing, either comparing it to the other part of what you have, or the whole of all. This last part, fractions you can make, all you do is figure out your whole amount, and that's going to be your denominator, okay? And then you can describe it with a fraction. So I could say 3 out of 7 yellow cubes, or 7 out of 7 are cubes of some kind, or 4 out of 7 are yellow, green, okay? That is all you do. So I'm going to give you a second to look at my picture of apples and bananas. And I want you to pause and see if you could figure out what the ratios are for this one. Okay, so you pause and see if you can figure out the part-to-parts and the part-to-wholes and maybe some fractions too. Then I will show you what I came up with. All right, so hopefully you had time to try and describe this fruit with your own ratios. And let's go through what I came up with. So when I look at my picture, I notice that I have I'm comparing fruit. I have apples and I have bananas. So I put apples and bananas to describe what I have using my words, and then I added my numbers. I have 2 apples and 5 bananas, and altogether my unit is fruit, so I have 7 fruits. So my options for part to part look like this. I have 2 apples to 5 bananas, or I have 5 bananas to 2 apples. I also have 2 apples out of 7 fruits, and 5 bananas out of all 7 fruit. Then I can have a look at fractions and do something like 2 out of 7 fruits are apples, 5 out of 7 are bananas, and out of all the fruit I have, or all the things I have in this data set, 7 out of 7 are fruit of some kind. Okay, so I have uploaded this chart for you to use in your assignments. It is really useful if you're just starting to work with ratios. I recommend using this as you start so that you don't get part and whole mixed up. But by the end of it, I'm betting most of you will be able to do it without your chart. So it's kind of there for you to use at your wish. Or if you wish, you can type in it right on Teams, or you can print it, or you can make your own kind of similar chart just drawing on paper. Okay, so make sure you read my assignment instructions very carefully so that you, number one, do all the parts that are required, not just some, or that you don't do too many questions because I haven't assigned you all the questions on the worksheets. Okay, hope this helps.